he's being driven around in my car, he could be living in my house. Hey! Have you people ever heard of toasters?
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 1983 classic comedy Trading Places. The film is directed by John Landis and it stars Eddie Murphy, Dan Aykroyd, Ralph Bellamy, Don Amici and Danham Elliott. Now the film focuses on Eddie Murphy's character Billy Ray Valentine and Dan Aykroyd's character Louis Winthorpe III. Now, Dan Aykroyd's character, Louis, is a Wall Street kid. He's a whiz. He's got everything going for him. He's got his own manservant. He has got, he mixes with high society people. He's filthy rich. And he knows it as well. He's full of himself. And Eddie Murphy's character, Billy Ray Valentine, essentially is nothing. He's a beggar on the streets, trying to just basically get through the day. And these two clash. Eddie Murphy bumps into Dan Aykroyd's character. Dan Aykroyd's character, Louis, thinks he is trying to steal the payroll. Eddie Murphy gets arrested, sent to jail. And Louis's bosses, the two Duke brothers, played by Ralph Bellamy and Don Amici, decide to have a bet, like a human experiment. And they bet basically that if they swap these people around, so Dan Aykroyd loses his job, loses his marriage, loses his friends, takes all his money away, everything like that he thinks it'll turn to crime. And the other one's like, that's just not going to happen. He comes from, good stock. He's not going to do it. And the other part of that bet is that Eddie Murphy's character, Billy Ray Valentine, is put in Dan Aykroyd's position in his house with his manservant, with a brilliant salary, everything in place for him to succeed. And he believes, the other brother, that he will thrive. So they have this conflict, they have this bet, and they put it in action. So that essentially they trade places. They ruin Louis's life and they enhance Billy Ray Valentine's life until they both find out what they're trying to do, and then they come up with a plan to stop them. Right. What are my thoughts on Trading Places? Well, simply put, this is one of the greatest comedies of all time, isn't it? And the reason why I've chose to do this as a classic film review is because it's a Christmas film. And if there's people out there arguing that Die Hard and Lethal Weapon are Christmas films, well, so is this. This is based and set at Christmas. There's a hilarious scene with Dan Aykroyd dressed up as Santa Claus. So it is obviously a Christmas film, in my opinion. So that's why I thought I would revisit it. I've got it on Blu-ray. I rewatched it for this review and absolutely loved it. This was Eddie Murphy's second film, I believe. And you already knew the guy was a star. The second you saw him in 48 Hours, you knew he was a star. But now, with this, it was just like, wow, there's no stopping this guy. Such talent. And obviously Dan Aykroyd had, he was not a stranger, obviously, to movies. He was very well known. But putting these two together was just magic, really. The laughs, you really get the laughs from both of them. Eddie Murphy's Billy Ray Valentine, obviously the fish out of water, the bit was in the jacuzzi saying he has to fart in the tub when he was a kid to get bubbles. And you could go on and on and on, and he's just very, very funny, Eddie Murphy. But again, Dan Aykroyd, who is really the star of this film. They're both equal, really, but Dan Aykroyd gets top billing here, and rightfully so. It's just superb. I think a lot of people just see Dan Aykroyd as one of the Ghostbusters, but you've got to look at some of his earlier work. The guy is just fabulous, and he's just amazing in this film. And it's a character that you start off at the beginning of the film desperately disliking, but he's a character that you absolutely start rooting for in the film because they just treat him so badly. And then we've got Jamie Lee Curtis in this film, who I forgot to mention at the beginning. Wow. you know what I'm about to say, but I'm not going to do it. I mean, Jamie Lee Curtis was known up to this point for being a screen queen, really. She'd basically only done horrors up to this point in her career. So there was no track record of her being in a comedy. And she nailed it, absolutely nailed it. I mean, she's not only absolutely stunning to look at, and yes, there is that scene. We know that scene, and it's not a bad scene, you know. We know that, but she's great, and she's got great chemistry with Dan Aykroyd, and it's one of those films that gives you one of the best endings. You know, seeing the two Duke brothers get their comeuppance for their dastardly scheme, and that whole sequence on the train at the end, it's just farce. It's just slapstick comedy farce. You know, Eddie Murphy is like this Nigerian guy. You've got Dan Aykroyd as this Rastafarian. Denham Elliott as an Irish priest. Jamie Lee Curtis is a Swedish student. It shouldn't work. When you say that out loud, it sounds ridiculous. And there's aspects of it wouldn't get done today because they're just not brave enough anymore. But it absolutely works. Having as well the guy in the monkey suit, that, you know, they put him in the monkey suit at the end of the film, that just absolutely has you in stitches. It's just so good. So I mean, John Landis, we know that he's a master when it comes to comedy. He's at this point in his career was knocking it out of the park. I think this was his first film. I don't know if it was after. I think it was after the Twilight Zone incident where the two children lost their lives and he was taken to court, nearly went to jail. And I think this was after Twilight Zone, and I think the trial was going on as he was kind of making this. I might be wrong, but it was certainly in that vicinity. So it can't have been an easy period in his life, but he still, I think, delivered one of the most memorable, funny, and hilarious comedies of all time. It's just timeless, wonderful, and easily, I think, one of the best Christmas comedies. And I'm going to say it again, guys, it's a Christmas comedy, hence why you guys are getting this on Christmas Eve. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this review. I will, of course, be back with plenty more reviews and content on the channel very soon.